All right, now with that, I am very pleased to introduce today's first demo with ELB Learning, Enhance Employee Development with Rehearsal Video Role Play. And guiding you through this first demo is Andrew Heilman, Customer Service Manager at ELB Learning. I'm going to pass it over to you, Andrew, to get things started.
Great. Well, thank you, Bianca. I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for joining. So it's great for me to be with you all today. I will just add that I am coming to you today from Reno, Nevada, right here near Lake Tahoe. So it's a beautiful day. And I'm very excited to share about Rehearsal and look forward to the questions that you have around our product and platform. Now, to speak on Rehearsal, I'm going to actually frequently reference two books that I hope everyone is familiar with. And if you've not had the chance to read them, this will be my personal plug to send everybody off and check out two resources in particular. So the first is James Clear's Atomic Habits, which we think is an amazing book. It's an amazing amount of research that James Clear did. We actually have had the chance to speak with him directly. And the idea of designing systems that enable the building of positive habits. So I think that's a really great book and one that is really appropriate, I think, as we discuss rehearsal and coaching solutions. The other that I'm going to make mention of is called Peak: Secrets from the New Science of Expertise. And that one was written by Anders Ericsson. And that one is great as well because it talks about something he calls deliberate practice and the power of deliberate practice in developing the mastery of skills. So those two items are actually going to be solid anchors as we walk through this demo of Rehearsal that I'm excited to take everybody through. So first of all, James Clear talks a lot about designing specific systems and environments that enhance learning and development. And so we've designed Rehearsal in a way that actually hopes to enable that. When you jump into the Rehearsal platform as a learner, I am presented with all of the assignments that I have, and I may be working on something that is helping me develop an overall skill, but I'm going to break that skill down into individual components. And first, I'm just going to show you a little bit of how Rehearsal works from the learner's perspective, because we have a really clear view at Rehearsal and at ELB Learning about exactly how we want to make sure that learners are developing. We think that coaching is a critical component and part of that process. Coaches play a role, and there are a lot of tools and technologies that can help learners and coaches, or mentors as we often call them in the platform, develop those skills. So first of all, when I come into a particular scenario within Rehearsal, I'm presented with a video prompt, which we will watch in a moment. I receive a number of other instructions, so I can have some text instructions that are given to me. I can have attachments that I might review as part of my development. And then finally, I've got a list of criteria under which I will be evaluated by my mentor then. So I'm going to review all of that information and take it in. I'll play our
Wow, sounds
short
like you guys have some
video.
pretty cool stuff going on. But I always like to do my due diligence. So can you tell me about some success stories that some of your clients have had?
So this particular scenario, I'm being asked as though I'm a salesperson, a very customer-facing individual within my organization, and being asked to tell about a success story about my product or service. Now, I'm going to go ahead and begin recording or begin the process of recording. The real value of Rehearsal actually begins in the practice area. So we call Rehearsal a video-based practice and coaching platform because we think both of those are equally important elements for employee development. So in Rehearsal as a learner, when I get started, I have the ability to now record a response. And as you'll notice, when I click the start recording button, I'm going to get a 3, 2, 1 countdown, which prepares me to begin to give my pitch. And then I'm going to record myself. And once I'm completed, I'm going to stop that process we'll see what happens. I begin telling my story about success that clients have had with Rehearsal. I love to talk about a customer in particular who actually A/B tested their onboarding program with Rehearsal, and they found at the end of that testing that their sales reps produced about 33% more revenue in the first 6 weeks in the field for those who used Rehearsal versus those who did not. So we'll see what happens. I tell my quick story, and immediately Rehearsal begins to play back my response for me. And so I'm going to watch that back. Again, when we think about learning and development and skill development of employees, we think about this continuous process that involves both learners and mentors. And so the very first thing I'm going to do is review my own submission. I get the ability to now watch myself several times. I can
In
play
telling my
and
story
stop.
about success that clients have had with
So I can continue to listen to this multiple times. Maybe I'm even jotting notes about things that I want to improve. And let's say I discard this recording and I go back to trying again. Rehearsal gives me that ability to do all of that practice in a safe environment until I feel comfortable with this. Now, I'm going to go for this particular example, just go ahead and submit this recording. And the very first thing that we're going to see that happens for me within the platform is my video is immediately uploaded. And the system is actually going to leverage AI and machine learning to begin to provide me with some of my initial feedback and coaching. And again, this is something that really speaks to one of James Clear's items is that we build habit forming loops. And one of the very first things in that is to be able to get immediate response and feedback. So not only have I now hopefully engaged with my own recording, helping my own self realize where I might need to improve and make those improvements, but now I get to leverage technology to see how did I do in this particular recording. So AI gives us the ability to look at all of the information that was given to the learner, those instructions, the prompt video, the attachments, and of course, the grading criteria that I'm going to be graded with. And it's going to now take my submission and apply some evaluation itself. You'll notice that AI tells me that I did an okay job, but it does recommend that I refine my response a little bit. So it's going to give me some coaching and feedback that I can now begin to absorb. Again, we haven't even had a mentor come in and provide feedback. They are going to be able to do that. But this is all about how I can leverage technology in my own self development through this point. So AI will give me feedback and will give me the ability to now say, do I want to confirm this response or do I want to retry that again? And so, of course, I can go through that process as many times as I would like. Now, let's just for the sake of the demo, I'll click retry. But really, what I want to go back and show is that Rehearsal has all sorts of ways to leverage technology in my development and coaching. So we believe that coaching is of vital importance. But many of you who may have implemented coaching programs probably know that coaching is a heavy burden for those individuals who are mentors providing feedback and coaching to their learners. It's a lot of time and investment for those mentors. And so Rehearsal is really interested in ensuring that mentors provide feedback and coaching at exactly the right time in that skill development process or that mastery process that Erickson will speak about in his book. So we have a number of different ways for technology to be able to provide coaching and feedback to me as a learner. You'll notice on a previous response, I was given the ability to grade myself based on the criteria that were established for this scenario, and I was allowed to provide my own grading to see how well I did at a particular skill. Again, maybe I'm just early on in my skill development process, and it's more about me intentionally practicing my skill, but with the lens of what am I being asked to perform? At what level am I being asked to perform? And so I've got the ability to just self grade or self evaluate myself. Now, in rehearsal, mentors can still come into these interactions and provide coaching and feedback on top of my self grade. The other thing I have the ability to do is maybe I'm being asked to give a pitch that has a particular number of keywords or phrases that I want to be said. Maybe we're trying to make sure that we tell our story as a company in a very specific way, that we talk very specifically about our strengths and about our values as an organization when we're speaking with our customers. And so, this particular scenario, I was given a list of 15 keywords, and I was asked to make sure that I say at least 10 of them in my response. You can see my initial response fell a little bit short. So, I only mentioned 8 of those 10 keywords. And so, I was asked to record a second response, which now I did successfully mention the required number of keywords. So I've got all sorts of ways to get feedback and and critique that really helps me develop. Again, to James Clear's point about developing a consistent habit with good feedback. And that, again, that is part of what we believe makes rehearsal as a great environment, a very purposeful environment for building skills. Now, let's talk about the feedback that mentors can provide. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the mentor side of the platform, where mentors have the ability to review the submissions of learners and provide their coaching and feedback now. And so in this view, you can see that as a mentor, I have the ability to see the learner's response and the feedback that was produced for them. So I can see a summary, I can see some key points that they may have made, and I even get a little bit of information about this particular submission. Now, rehearsal doesn't apply or doesn't arbitrarily suggest what is a good average pace for a particular scenario, or how many words should I be saying in my delivery of this particular message. But instead, it gives me as a mentor all of that information so that I can better understand where I can apply my coaching, where I can apply feedback, and where I can give encouragement to help this learner continue on their learning journey. So in this particular example, you'll notice that I also get to see the feedback that was given by AI to this particular learner. Maybe this learner actually made several attempts. And so I get to see all of those attempts that they have submitted. Again, they may have recorded multiple times as they practice. I don't get to see those. So that is really an opportunity for the learner to experiment, to have a safe place to practice, to make mistakes, because we know that that is how you build that muscle memory of uh, good delivery or good interactions that we're really trying to build those skills. So those recordings that a learner discarded and opted to record again, I don't get to see those, but as a mentor, I get to see the submissions that they have made, even if they've made 2 or 3 submissions because of incorporating feedback from AI. So I now get to review multiple recordings and even see the progress that they have made through submitting their video, receiving feedback from AI, and making additional attempts at this particular scenario. So now I also get the ability to give my coaching and feedback to this particular learner. And Within the platform of Rehearsal, we actually have a couple of different ways that you can do that as a mentor. The very first thing I can do is leave a comment for the learner on this video. And what's great about this particular feature is that perhaps there is a very specific point in their video that I want to leave them some coaching and feedback about. Maybe it's right at that 29-second mark. I'm going to give this learner some feedback. Again, as a mentor, we encourage them to record video back in response to their learners. We have always coached our clients that recording video is a bit of a sort of high risk or really challenging environment, right? We're being asked to record ourselves, to put ourselves on screen as learners and submit those videos. And we think that the best way to make sure that mentors are recognizing the effort that learners have to put in within our platform is to also record their video and feedback via a video. So I have the ability to record video feedback, but I can also leave some text. Maybe I'm going to give this learner some video feedback at another point. And so here I'm just going to leave some coaching. And I'll type in that coaching feedback that I've got for the learner, and I'll submit that. And so now you can see my comment is time-stamped to the particular time where I want that learner to make sure that they are aware of either the coaching I'm giving or the praise that I'm giving for the effort that they've done. You may have noticed earlier when we were at the very bottom of the screen, I've got two options now as well to advance this conversation. So we like to think of this within Rehearsal as now a conversation. It's a coaching conversation between me as a mentor and that learner on the screen whose video I'm responding to. And so again, we think of this as a good opportunity to dialogue. Maybe I want to give this learner some coaching and feedback, and I want them to make a second or a third or a fourth attempt at this particular scenario. So again, maybe I am trying to coach them up to a particular skill level or to validate that they have reached a mastery of some particular skill. And so I've got the ability to prompt them again. And that's what this is here. It's a mentor prompt, allowing me to record a video and give them some coaching and feedback. So that's one option that I may choose. The second option is that I may want to submit what we call a final review or to give this learner a grade of their effort. So you'll notice that along with my ability to record video and leave coaching feedback via text, I now am presented with all of the criteria where I will be asked to evaluate this particular learner. You'll notice that all of the criteria can have different scoring so that we can weight and value particular items and elements more than others. I even have one of my criteria, which is just worth a single point. And so that's why it's a check mark for me here in this interface. Again, I'm going to encourage mentors to record video feedback. And just to be able to give you the visual, I'll go ahead and offer some feedback and encouragement to this particular learner and say they did a great job. And I'm going to actually even promote this video, your most recent video, to our leaderboard for others to be able to review and see.
And offer some feedback and
So as a mentor, I get that same element or that same interaction. As I record video, I have the ability to discard something if I don't speak well, or if I say something just slightly more different than I really wanted to, again, because this feedback is really critical, as we know, within a learner's development process. So I can record my video feedback, provide my final review score, and we'll submit this. And now the learner will be notified of, first of all, that they have some feedback from me, and they've got multiple feedback at this point. They've got my final review, but they also have the coaching that I had left earlier that was time stamped on their video. So now they've got that ability to come in and review as well. Now, I mentioned as I was giving that mentor feedback about wanting to promote this learner's most recent video onto the leaderboard. And that is as well something that is really important within rehearsal. So I have the ability to add any particular response from a learner onto our leaderboard. And I can even leave a note. So I can give some context as to why this video was promoted to the leaderboard. Now, as you might imagine, anything that is promoted to the leaderboard is able to be viewed by other learners who are also going through this particular scenario. Again, we want to make this concept of forming habits that James Clear really talks about. We want to make sure that we are doing everything we can to make rehearsal an encouraging and helpful environment. And we all know that sometimes it's helpful to just have good examples to emulate, to have good things that you can review to as you begin to try and develop your own skill or develop your own talk track. Again, maybe you're in sales and so you're being asked to develop a particular talk track about selling your product or speaking about your service, and so we want to make sure that rehearsal really enables that. Now, I can go ahead and immediately publish this to the leaderboard, or in some cases, I may want to ask permission from the learner. Again, we really love to promote rehearsal as a safe space for learners. And so we believe that in some environments, especially if the recording could be something of a challenging request of learners, maybe I want to make sure that the learner is okay with other people seeing this video as well before I just go ahead and share it and make it public. And so I get the ability now to request the permission of that learner. The learner will receive an email and they will be asked to confirm that they are okay with this video going up on the leaderboard. And if they say no, that's okay. The system will simply not post it to the leaderboard. Now, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just publish this so we can go ahead and see it. And again, in the user interface, I just get a little visual clue to the fact that this response has been promoted onto the leaderboard now. So that is really the platform in a short synopsis. Again, I talked about James Clear's Atomic Habits quite a bit, obviously. Anders Ericsson also really speaks to this concept of deliberate practice, right? That I'm not just coming in and saying my talk track over and over without real thought or consequence and without focus on what I am actually trying to achieve. So, Erickson's research was actually made almost most famous by Malcolm Gladwell, who talked about the 10,000 hour of practice rule. Erickson, interestingly, takes issue with the way that Malcolm Gladwell has actually leveraged that and spoken about it, because Erickson says very specifically that his research proves that it's about deliberate practice, not just rote practice. So we want to make sure that learners in their deliberate practice are also being given really good pointed feedback, both from technology like AI and machine learning that is applied here in rehearsal, but then also from mentors who are recording their own videos and providing that feedback to learners. So I'll go ahead and just jump back over to the main rehearsal page to show you that the leaderboard, as learners can see it, they can now come in and see that response, and they can see the transcript so that they get a really good opportunity to review what was said. And hopefully, if this is something I am trying to emulate, now I get the ability to really incorporate that into my own practice into my own deliberate practice and my own development of this particular skill. So I don't know if we have any questions at this point, Bianca, but if so, I'd love to be able to answer any.
Andrew, you have so many questions that we are not going to have time to get through them all.
Oh
But I think
no.
you've given us your contact information that we can pop in the chat. So if you've asked a question and we don't get a chance to get to it, be sure to reach out. Now, the first question that you had was, do the skills need to be assigned by someone else, like an admin or a manager, or can a user self-assign?
Yes. Currently, we do in rehearsal within the platform, admins do need to assign these skills or these assignments to learners specifically. But if you leverage an LMS or an LXP or some other environment where you could post publicly available um, a listing of assignments that you've made, we do have the ability to actually have people click on links that this are deep embedded links that will auto assign those learners to them. So the system within Rehearsal at the moment doesn't have the ability to incorporate sort of that catalog of learning that an LMS might, but that's because most of the time our clients are leveraging their LMS alongside Rehearsal. And so they'll post that catalog in their LMS or their LXP, and learners can self-select into programs just by simply clicking on a link.
That actually brings up what I'm hoping is a quick question because someone asked if this integrates with other systems like Absorb. I'm thinking the answer is
It
yes.
it does.
Yeah.
It does. Yes. So we have deep linking to LMSs, LXPs, CRMs. We've had clients link to all sorts of systems so that they can, and of course, we can set up single sign on so that it's easy for learners to just get right into the Rehearsal platform.
Perfect. Now, are there grading criteria that are already provided in the system, or does the organization need to provide what sort of like good looks like to people who are doing evaluations?
Yes, we say that the Rehearsal is fully flexible and is so it's not pre-built. And so it is something that we always coach our clients on ensuring that they've got good definitions to be able to provide to mentors. So we don't set those criteria. We don't set those scoring. That is set entirely by the organizations as they set up each of their individual assignments and scenarios within the system.
Perfect. Then we've got time for one more question. Asking about where the videos are stored. Are the videos saved to the cloud storage? Are there historical versions when changes might be made?
Yeah, so all of Rehearsal is it is a fully encased solution, so to speak. So all of the videos are stored within Rehearsal. But administrators do have the ability to take those videos and export. We have seen some amazing things put together from some great submissions. We had a client in particular who would do an annual like highlight reel of some of the most amazing responses recorded within Rehearsal. So again, because Rehearsal is very much focused on learner safety and being a safe place to practice. We don't let anybody take videos out of the system, but
Mhm.
admins can so that they can leverage them in other areas of learning. And like we said, being able to really highlight those individuals in your organizations who are doing great work.
Fantastic. All right. Andrew, we've got some questions in the chat we're not going to have time to get to. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way is email. So my email address is just Heilman at ELB Learning. ELB Learning also has a Rehearsal landing page. I will gladly drop that in the chat. But yes, please drop by if you have more questions. We love to talk Rehearsal. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. I love talking Rehearsal, as you can imagine. It's truly a passion for me. So.
All right, Andrew, we got you covered. Joy just popped both those links into the chat. So if anyone wants to nerd out with Andrew at a later date, we've got you covered there. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone here in the audience. Now we're going to take a 15-minute break and we will see you all here again at 12:45 for our next demo.